The Galactic Council had convened emergency sessions before, but never for something like this. Ambassador Zekthar of the Krillian Confederacy stood before the assembled representatives, his chromatophores flickering with patterns of deep concern. "We cannot allow humanity into the Council," he declared, his translator converting his bioluminescent speech into standard galactic. "Not until we understand what makes them so different." Jessica Chen sat in the observation gallery, her jaw clenched. Beside her, James Morrison touched her arm gently. "Easy," he whispered. "Let's hear them out," the Krillian continued. 3 cycles ago, we initiated the standard neural compatibility tests with human volunteers. The results were—" he paused, searching for words. "Unprecedented. Disturbing." A holographic display materialized above the council floor. It showed brain scans, human brain scans during REM sleep. The neural activity looked like a storm, chaotic and violent, with regions lighting up in patterns that made the alien representatives shift uncomfortably in their seats. "Every sentient species dreams," Zekthar explained. "The Krillians dream of bioluminescent poetry. The Manthar dream of mathematical equations. The Vox dream of harmonic frequencies. But humans—" he gestured at the scans. "Humans dream of impossibilities." Jessica leaned forward. She'd volunteered for those tests. She knew exactly what they'd found. "When we connected human subjects to our collective dream-share network," another counselor spoke up, a Manthar named Silvera, "the results were catastrophic. Their dreams infected the network. Peaceful sleepers across 3 systems woke screaming." James stood abruptly. "May I address the council?" Zekthar's patterns flickered with surprise, but he nodded. James descended to the council floor, Jessica following. They'd prepared for this, known it was coming. "You're right," James said simply. "We dream differently. We dream of nightmares, of monsters, of worlds ending and loved ones dying. We dream of falling endlessly, of being chased by things that cannot exist, of scenarios that defy physics and logic." "Exactly," Zekthar exclaimed. "Why would evolution produce such a trait? It's maladaptive, wasteful, potentially harmful." Jessica stepped forward. "Because it keeps us alive." The council chamber fell silent. "Every species here evolved on stable worlds," Jessica continued. "Your planets had predictable seasons, manageable predators, reasonable environmental challenges. You developed space travel through logical progression, mathematical understanding, collective cooperation." She pulled up a hologram of Earth. "We evolved on a death world. A planet that tried to kill us every single day, ice ages that lasted millennia, megafauna that hunted us, diseases that decimated populations, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, earthquakes, and predators, so many predators." James took over. "Our nightmares aren't a flaw. They're a feature. When a human dreams of being chased by a monster, we're running scenario simulations. Our brains are asking, what if the saber-toothed cat comes back? What if the neighboring tribe attacks at night? What if the food runs out? What if the river floods? We dream of every possible disaster so we can survive the real ones." "But the madness," Silvera protested. "Human dreams contain impossible geometries, non-Euclidean spaces, logical paradoxes. We measured dream sequences where humans simultaneously existed in multiple contradictory states. That's not simulation, that's chaos. It's creativity," Jessica said firmly. "Yes, we dream in madness. We dream of things that cannot be, should not be, will never be. And then we wake up and we make them real." She pulled up another hologram. "Faster than light travel? Impossible according to known physics. We dreamed it anyway. Quantum entanglement communication? Paradoxical. We made it work. Dimensional folding? Defies logic. We do it every day now." James smiled slightly. "Every major human innovation started as a nightmare or a mad dream. Someone imagined flying and we built aircraft. Someone dreamed of touching the stars and we built spacecraft. Someone had a nightmare about invisible killers and we discovered bacteria, then developed antibiotics." "You don't dream in poetry or equations or harmonics," Jessica said, looking at each counselor in turn. "You dream in order. And order is wonderful for stable societies, for maintaining what you have. But humans, we dream in chaos because chaos forces adaptation. It forces innovation. It forces us to imagine the unimaginable and then survive it." Zekthar's pattern shifted, uncertain now. "But the danger to other species can be managed," James interrupted. We've developed neural dampeners. Humans can sleep without broadcasting our dreams. We've been using them since we learned about the problem. But you need to understand something. He stepped closer to the Krillian ambassador. You're not afraid of our dreams because they're dangerous to you. You're afraid because they're contagious. Because when other species experience human dreams, they start to change. They start to imagine impossibilities too. A small counselor from the Tesh Collective spoke up, her voice barely above a whisper. Is it true that humans can experience the same nightmare repeatedly and still sleep voluntarily? Jessica nodded. I have a recurring nightmare about drowning. Had it since I was 6 years old. I still go to sleep every night, but why? The Tesh counselor asked, genuinely confused. Because the alternative is not sleeping, James said. And humans learned long ago that we'd rather face our nightmares than face reality without rest. We'd rather dream in madness than not dream at all. The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Finally, the High Arbiter spoke, an ancient being whose species had founded the council millennia ago. What you're describing is a fundamental incompatibility, not just neurological but philosophical. The Galactic Council was built on principles of harmony, stability, predictable progress. And that's exactly why you need us, Jessica said. The universe isn't stable. It's not predictable. Somewhere out there are threats you can't imagine because you don't dream nightmares. There are solutions you'll never find because you don't dream in madness. James added, 3 cycles ago you detected an anomaly at the edge of charted space, something that doesn't follow known physics. Your best scientists can't explain it. Your predictive models fail. You want to know why? He pulled up the data. Because it's something impossible, something that shouldn't exist. And the only way to understand the impossible is to think impossibly, to dream impossibly. Jessica smiled. You need humans because one day, the universe is going to throw something absolutely insane at the Galactic Council. Something nightmarish, something that defies all logic and order. And when that day comes, you'll need a species that's been training for it every single night for hundreds of thousands of years. You'll need species that dreams in nightmares and madness. James concluded. You'll need humans. The High Arbiter was silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke. This council will recess for deliberation. But I will say this, humanity has given us much to consider. And perhaps much to fear. Good, Jessica said quietly as she and James left the chamber. Fear is just another word for respect for the unknown. And if there's one thing humans understand, it's how to respect the unknown while still walking straight into it. As they exited, James glanced at her. Think they'll accept us? Jessica smiled. They will. Because deep down every species in that chamber knows the truth. The universe is far stranger than any of them dare to imagine. And eventually they'll need someone who's not afraid to imagine it anyway. That night in her quarters, Jessica slept, and she dreamed of monsters and madness, of impossible geometries and logical paradoxes. She dreamed of humanity's next great discovery, born from nightmare and chaos. And somewhere in the council chambers, a Tesh counselor experienced her first human-style dream and woke with tears streaming down her face, terrified and exhilarated in equal measure, finally understanding what humans had been trying to say all along. The universe needed dreamers of nightmares. It always had.